Judgment is expected in the trial against self-confessed East Rand serial rapist Nkosinathi Phakade. The 32-year-old is linked to at least 93 rapes over 9 years, with the youngest victim a 9-year-old. He pleaded guilty to over 100 charges as part of a plea deal. eNCA's Moloko Moloto joins us now with the very latest. Moloko, good morning. You know, this is by far one of the most gruesome cases that we've followed or tracked on the station. Did at any point Nkosinathi Phakade, throughout this period where he would briefly be appearing, did he seem remorseful at all?
Well, Mfundo, you're correct. I mean, this is one of the scariest cases. I mean, this is the man who terrorized the young women and children in Ekurhuleni, because we understand that actually the youngest of his victims happened to be 12 years old, and he has been assaulting them, raping them for a period of nearly a decade, Mfundo. And just why it took so long for him to be arrested really boggles the mind. And he went on. Actually, he would even pick some of these women out in the streets and force them into the bush where he raped them. In some instances, the court heard that actually he would even go into people's homes, really trying to pretend that he's looking for menial jobs. And once they opened for him, he would rape them and even rob them. So he, as you said, he faced so many charges, and he entered into some kind of a plea bargain with the state. And when the plea bargain was read, he actually was really having his head between his feet, or his thighs, I should indicate. And you get a sense that this is the man who really had no respect whatsoever for human life, because he went on not only once but multiple times. And surely his victims many of them surely will never even get closure, because this is the man who really never showed respect for human life.
And so far as the proceedings are concerned today, what do we expect in court exactly?
Well, what we expect is that at around 11 o'clock, the presiding officer is going to be sentencing him, because so far he has pleaded guilty for a variety of charges. As I said, rape, sexual assault, robbery with aggravating circumstances. And Mfundo, when he was arrested, we know, sometime last year in March, in Ekurhuleni, in Davidton to be specific, he was trying to flee from the police, and he was then shot in the foot. And we understand that his other foot was actually amputated. And he walks into this particular courtroom with crutches. But surely the criminal justice system has to send a message on this particular one, Mfundo, because surely this is a man who has indicated that he is incorrigible, because if he had not been stopped, who knows, he possibly would be continuing today to rape and to terrorize the women in Ekurhuleni.
No, they must send a strong message, but it's still concerning that it took so long, like you say, that it boggles the mind, that you would assume that after you've got 10 cases where women come and explain of a similar modus operandi and they describe a certain gentleman, after year number 1, we should have all known there should have been some sort of an identity kit of an individual that looks something like him. But it was allowed to continue for 9 years. Honestly, they must also be hanging their heads in shame that they failed the communities.
It certainly is an indictment not only on the police but society as well, Mfundo. Surely this man lived in a society with people. Somebody should have known, either somebody closer to him, somebody should have known that this man was up to no good. And if nobody knew, really, that on its own is an indictment, because this man was not living somewhere in heaven, Mfundo. He lived among people. And the fact that he continued, that on its own says that women in this country are certainly not safe. I mean, we are grappling with high numbers of sexual assault, of rape, and we're having one man who continue for so many years, and only after nearly 10 years he is captured. And of course, some people will say he's been arrested, now he's going to have, and he's been found guilty, he's going to have to spend time behind bars. But will the victims ever get justice? And what form of justice really, are they expecting? Does it mean that the fact that he's now been arrested and he's going to spend time in jail, is that justice for the people whose future really, some of them really has been tampered with?